why every generation hates the next one. And there's also a section about, is Gen Z lazy? Now, you know, I don't hate Gen Alpha, honestly. You know what, bro? You know what? I say stop the Gen Alpha hate, all right? We must accept the skibbity toilet. No, I'm just playing, okay? But, y'all think this is true, though? Honestly, this is true, though. Like, every single bro. Fucking millennials hate Gen Z. Gen Z hates Gen Alpha. Before that, Gen X hates millennials. Before that, boomers hate Gen X. It's every single one. Like, even for me, like, when I see the cringe Gen Alpha shit, and I see them, I feel like it's just, you know what I'm saying? It's more, the reason why we complain about it, even the older generations do it's because it's more on camera now. Like before, when they were wilding out, it was kind of less on camera. Like a lot of those kids, bro, they're gonna end up, hopefully, you know, grown up normally, all right? Or we're gonna have to see, I guess. But yeah, everybody always thinks they're the best generation. And do I think Gen Z is lazy? Some of y'all is lazy, to be honest. Some of y'all is and do nothing. But a lot of people really aren't, all right? I got a lot of friends that just be working, just be doing, like working hard at it. That's also that. But the thing is, though, it was the same hate like millennials were giving, I don't know, like Gen Z when they were like saying yeet or whatever type of Vine terminology. I don't know. So anyways, let's check out this video, why every generation hates the next one.
A lot of them are lazy, disrespectful.
The world is really a mess right now.
I need them more than they need me.
Children are the future. You are the future. I'm finished already. I'm closer to the end than to the beginning. It's about you.
Gen Z slander will no longer be tolerated. We've been the laughing stock of media outlets for the past decade, and we will not stand for this any longer. Every claim made against Gen Z has been said about almost every generation previous. But are any of these claims true? It's about time we fought back. Today, I took to
I feel like for every generation, like they always say, oh my god, why are these kids so lazy? We're like, why? Oh my god, they don't work, bro. Like they don't do nothing. Like every single generation I see, bro, they say it about the next one. It's kind of insane. Like, bro, I'm not gonna lie though, I be seeing like hella people. It just gets worse and worse though. I feel like it gets worse and worse as like social media and all this different. Cause it's not like there's not some merit to it, but like, bro, there's so many people I know, bro, whether it's creators, friends, they just be working, they're in school, bro, like they're just working hard, trying to make it. So it's kind of weird.
Streets to ask Gen X and baby boomers how they actually feel about Gen Z. Then I'll do my own research to test if these claims are valid or slander. Starting with number 1.
Gen Z lazy.
Whiny, weak youngsters who don't understand how the world works. Work harder. Do better.
This is the snowflake generation. They have the work ethic of a dead salamander.
Objection. The claim that Gen Z is inherently more lazy than any other generation is rooted in cognitive bias and lack of context. Let me explain. In order to understand this, we have to look at the psychology behind generation.
I feel like a lot of like, let me just say Gen Z and like whatever younger generations, it's just like we kind of realize like we don't want to get we realize we have a right in the workplace, you feel me? Like, you want to get bullied by your boss and let him do everything 24/7, stepping over and be like, oh, yeah, okay, it's fine, boss, I'm gonna do it, don't worry. Like, nobody wants to deal with that shit. And once you start speaking, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you remember when you were younger and after that you spoke, like, you simply try to defend yourself, right, from your parents, and then they got mad, like, oh, why you talking back? Like, what the f do you expect? Of course I'm about to talk back or say my reasons why.
Conflict in general. The kids these days phenomenon is as old as time itself. It's the illusion that children in the present are significantly different and worse than how children were like a generation or two ago. It's kind of like those people who base their entire personality on the fact that they grew up in the 90s and they swear on their life no one born beyond the year 2000.
Bro, that's definitely about to happen for 2000s kids though. I already see it. Shit. I'm honestly kind of the same way too though, because like, I don't know, bro, I feel like original cartoons, like when they were airing on, you know what I'm saying, networks and whatever, it was like, it's different, because Gen Z was like the last generation where we were fully watching television and immersing in it. Nowadays it's kind of just like social media, so it's different. It'll be like a different type of thing, I don't know.
And knows what having a childhood is like, whoa, okay buddy, y'all see one orange couch on TV and don't know how to act. Sometimes you just want to hit him with a
nobody asked.
So why do some people believe that the next generation will always be worse than the last one? For two reasons. Memory bias and our tendency to overly criticize others in an area that we are already good at. To some extent, we are all a victim of memory bias. Our ability as a human race to recall events accurately with memory alone is flawed, which is why court cases can't be solved by eyewitness testimony alone.
Is that
The longer
Trump?
the time
Who
gap
was that?
between the actual event occurring and when you try to recall that event as a memory, the more opportunity you give yourself to forget specific details and or to have your memory be manipulated to fit your current beliefs, also known as selective recall. For example, if you already believe you had a harder childhood than kids do today, you're more likely to only recall memories that justify that belief. So
Nah, bro, why does... I'm not gonna lie, bro. This definitely be my parents. You know the classic. Oh my god, bro. You wouldn't know the way I had to go to school. I had to hike up the mountains, and after that, after I hiked up the mountain, I had to hike down 2 mountains. I had to traverse the land of rivers just to get to school. You wouldn't understand. It's like, damn, bro. Hispanic parents. Nah, shit was really, I mean, I'm not even saying it was definitely harder. It's definitely harder, especially if your parents, like, you know what I'm saying, were immigrants and they grew up in a different place. But it's like, holy shit, bro. It's like, damn. And also, what are you supposed to do? Like, are you mad that I'm growing up with, like, you know what I'm saying, a good maybe system of transportation? Is that my fault? Like, what was I supposed to do, bro? Be set the same year you were born and fucking traverse the lands like you did? I can't do anything about that.
So it's more accurate to say your belief came first and you select past experiences to justify it rather than saying your belief came from your experiences. Now, I was born in 1999 and I grew up watching 2000s TV. And if you grew up with me, you knew we had some bangers.
Facts.
I'm talking that I ran home, eyes glued to the screen, posture erect, waiting for the next Kids Next Door episode to drop. And I used to look at kids TV today in disbelief that they feed the youth such garbage. But I can't lie, after learning about memory bias and looking back at the full roster of shows we were given as a kid, we probably had more misses than hits, because there is no
Fanboy and Chum. I love Fanboy and Chum Chum. I don't care. Can we stop the Fanboy and Chum Chum hate? The thing is, we did have stinkers though. That's the thing. But like, that's with like every generation. We don't look at the bad shit. Like when you look at nostalgia, you know what I'm saying? You're looking at all the good shit. You're not looking at the. I love Fanboy and Chum Chum, but I use an example, the Fanboy and Chum Chums. Whatever. Y'all can keep hating. It was disgusting. I don't care. I loved it.
way you're telling me this was Prime TV. The second
Mr.
characteristic of the kids these days effect is the tendency to overly criticize others who are lacking in areas we are already good at. Have you ever had to train a new employee at your job and you are angry because they keep messing up at things from your perspective seemed basic? Or have you ever played
I never understood people who did that, because when I first got, you know what I'm saying, the fast food job or whatever I had in high school, like, for the most part, the person that was teaching me were cool. They were cool for the most part, but there were certain people that were just pissed. Like, they were like, oh my God, why don't you know this already? Like, buddy, it's my first time on the job. How the f am I supposed to know this? You've been here for like 3 or 4 years.
a game or sport that you're really good at against someone that was complete garbage, and you nitpicked everything they did to the point that how bad they were actually started to offend you? If you're already really good at something, you tend to be overly judgy. And the problem with this is that even if we try to relate and attempt to think back to how we were when we got started, we still only do so through a lens of how we are today. And you start saying things like, I remember struggling too, but I was never that bad. If you're an older generation, you are in a completely different stage of your life than Gen Z. Whether you have a family, kids, or anything else, you objectively have more responsibilities in your life currently. And majority of you guys are well into your careers already with 10 plus years in workforce. You're already used to the idea of sacrifice and hard work. Obviously, if you look at a younger generation who barely just got out of college and yet to experience the working world, we are going to look lazy in comparison because you're not comparing us to how you were back then.
It's the same thing though when Gen Z also critiques like Gen Alpha, right? Where you're like, oh bro, what the f are they watching this brain rot and shit like that, bro? We had brain rot too. We had brain rot, we had dumb shit, right? There's things to criticize, but like going overly, like, bro, when I made that video, I made a video, y'all probably seen it, talking about Gen Alpha or whatever, and then people were like, oh my God, like, stop fully hate, they're just kids, bro, like, we're like, they gotta grow up and shit. No shit, bro. No shit. If I made like 5 or 10 videos talking about it, then that would be kind of crazy. I'm not gonna lie. That would be fucking crazy, because it's like, god damn. At that point, I'd just be obsessed. Or I'd be obsessed with kids like I'm EDP or something.
Comparing us to how you view yourself now. Y'all are grown adults making fun of kids with significantly less experience than you. We just got started. Shut up. But don't just take my word for it. Take it from Joseph. Yeah, and he's about to drop some fire wisdom.
No, I
Question,
mean,
do you believe Gen Z is
obviously,
lazy?
you can make a remark, but if you make a remark, you don't have anything better to do. Empty barrels make the most noise.
Jeez, Joseph. Joseph must have been a chef at some
Looks
point
like he's
because he
serving, like, the
definitely
Vietnam
cooked.
War.
And now we have another woman giving her perspective.
We're all of those things all the time anyway. Although we like
believe
to
Gen
think
Z is
that.
lazy.
Right.
Everybody is prejudiced about everything all the time. And it comes from ignorance.
I wonder what she was prejudiced about 50 or 60 years ago. Were you prejudiced against black people? Who were you prejudiced about? What is her prejudice? Who is her prejudice? Who is she talking? Nah, I'm just playing, bro. Let me stop, Granny. I'm sorry. She actually seems like a very nice woman.
Right.
And from fear of the unknown. So I think from time immemorial, older people
I relate to
always
her.
thought we did it right. They're doing it wrong. You know, we walked 5 miles to school in the snow.
Yo, nah, wait. Why is she kind of like tapped in, bro? Hey, W Granny, because I literally just made that joke earlier. I just made that joke. 'Cause that's how they be,
You know,
bro.
the whole old story. But I think it just keeps repeating itself over and over and over again.
And gosh darn it, she's correct. The amount of older people I see romanticize their past and using how hard they work as a badge of honor to justify their argument that Gen Z is lazy. It's kind of alarming. We were taught work. We had chores. I first grew up in Wisconsin and most of my schoolmates were the children of farmers. They were up at 5 a.m. milking cows or gathering eggs. I didn't escape a life of work. My father owned a honey business and I remember at 5 years old putting together frames for the hives. We were taught how to work and it was a fact of life. I never resented it. If we got lazy and did a
Sounds more like you're a fucking slave. Huh? This is not even, bro. This is not the regular childhood people grow up with. Talking about, oh, I had to be on the farm. I had to be tending to the horses, making sure, replacing their horseshoes every day. What are you talking about? How many people do you think live like this? Yo, this is from Core, though, so, you know what I'm saying? I'm not even surprised by this response.
lousy job, our father would make us do it all over
My
again.
brother now?
It taught us to do the job the right way the first time. All my employers reaped the benefits of my upbringing. Lots of things have changed. Some
This
for the
is
better,
insane.
some for the worse. But I can't help but see the worst. This is not a better world. This is actually a worse one. I mean, I guess I can't argue with that.
Sound like an
I guess
anime
baby
villain.
boomers are just that hardworking, and Gen Z really is that lazy.
For a whole generation that I suppose we would now call spoiled kids.
This whole
What? 1950s parents reveal how they felt about their 1960s baby boomer children? Yeah, you know for a fact the 1950 parents were like, do you know what I've been through? I fought in World War I. You know who Adolf is? You know who he is? We had to take him down. And what do you guys got? A little Vietnam War or something? That's nothing to us. That's none to us. I saw 5 of my homies' heads get blown off the other day. You know they were like that, man. So it's always been like this. It's literally always been like this.
image of giving your children everything you had, and they have to be satisfied and they have to be content, and I think we gave them much too much.
We knew it was because you went to work, but I'm not sure our children realized that. And I have a strong suspicion that what happened in the late 60s was that the kids who rebelled took it for granted that life would improve automatically.
Spoiled kids.
Damn.
Spoiled kids.
Spoiled, but that doesn't make sense. Baby boom.
Strong as Gen Z, cope harder, lazy Gen Zs, buddy. There's a 99.9% chance you are in Gen Z, buddy. Like, what do you want to guilt for something? I guess you could go up to a grandma and go ahead and say that. Go in and say how lazy your peers are or something like that. Maybe she'll open her legs. What are you talking about?
Boomers are supposed to be the hard-working generation. Gen Z is supposed to be the one that's lazy. Actually, now that I think about it, here's an excerpt of an article I found that proves just how lazy Gen Z is. Everybody was getting too darn lazy, and nobody wants to work anymore. That's the truth if I ever heard it. You see? I knew it. Gen Z really is the one that's late.
I'm gonna be real though, bro. Gen Z probably gonna say this shit for like the 2 or 3 generations down. Like I'm talking about when Gen Z's like old. They're gonna be like, oh my god, like we were really like working hard, and like look at these kids now. They don't do nothing. They have robot butlers that bring them everything. It's gonna be the same shit.
Wait a minute. This isn't a recent article at all. This was made in 1952. But
Damn.
wait. Sorry, guys.
I mean, a robot
Here's an
butler's
actual
crazy.
recent article about Gen Z being lazy and not wanting to work anymore. Nobody wants to work anymore. Wait, this one's not recent either. This one came out in 1969. Most boomers would have been of working age at that point. That doesn't make any sense. Wait, but there's one from 1940, 1922, 1905, all the way back to 1894.
Oh my God.
Actually, there's an entire list of adults saying the same exact thing throughout history. How could it be possible that every generation at one point or the other was considered to be lazy or entitled? Well, there could only be one explanation. Either every generation in their adolescence is just lazy by default, and they wait until some arbitrary time in the future, and they stop being lazy all of a sudden, or everyone who holds that belief is a victim of their own bias. Truth is, there are way too many factors to determine the work ethic of an entire generation. For example, a baby boomer who grew up on a farm and a baby boomer who grew up in the city literally lived two completely different lives and have two completely different.
That's exactly what I'm saying. It's the same thing here too. Like, bro, there's some Gen Z kids living in war-torn countries right now. They're gonna grow up and be like, oh my God, I had to struggle. You guys want to relate. You live peacefully. And then there's kids, bro, that literally have been good their whole life. Can't really argue it.
Work ethics, but the same exact thing applies to Gen Z in those same scenarios as well.
Kids?
The problem
I know their
is
parents
that
about to
these
go crazy
people
when
believe
they're
that
older.
the youth don't want to work, while not understanding that as society advances, the standard of how we work changes. The silent generation, born and lived through the Great Depression and World War II, growing up with the patriotic values.
No, I'm not gonna lie. They have every single. The silent generation has every single excuse to talk shit. Going to war, World War I, the Great Depression, everybody in the entire world is just struggling. They actually have the rights to complain, all right? Nobody, like, they're at the top echelon of everybody else. Everybody else is, like, right below them.
Values of fighting for one's country, they valued loyalty over everything else. So the standard of work at the time was stay loyal to one company until retirement.
They went through
Baby
everything,
boomers
not
were
gonna lie.
born in an economic boom shortly after World War II ended. Their optimism due
Yeah, they
to
ruined
this
it for everybody.
post-war economic success made them more likely to take risk, and for the most part, job loyalty actually paid off back then because of the booming economy. Their standard of work was work hard at your job and your job will take care of you. Gen X sandwich.
That was their quote. Your job will take care of you. Funny joke. Oh my God, that is a hilarious joke. Yo, companies literally try to stop people from unionizing, like Amazon or whatever. Like Amazon doesn't like, they don't like any, as soon as they hear it, bro, people are like talking about their workers' rights or like being able to do shit and be able to live, like they immediately nip it in the bud. So that's kind of that's funny. Do they want everybody to have this mentality now? Is this what they want? They want like everybody in every other generation to have this mentality? That's probably why they mad all the time.
Which in between two generations shares similar values to baby boomers, but was the first generation where a dual income home, as in both parents having a job, became normalized and grew up needing to be more independent, many of which grew up entrepreneurial. Their standard of work at the time was find work that gives you autonomy. Millennials, the generation everyone picked on before Gen Z. Millennials experienced massive advancement in technology and drastic social and economic change. They're old enough to remember 9/11 and the 08 crash, so they know that they have to be flexible to survive, but they also know that the idea of a safe, secure job doesn't exist anymore. So the standard work of their time period was find something flexible that gives you a work-life balance.
I think the downfall started with the millennials, to be honest. Like as in like working or whatever, and people realizing like shit, yeah, we're never gonna get money. I think it started with them, and every generation after is like, damn, yeah, we're just simply not getting money. We're not going to be able to save up for anything. It's tough.
Balance. Gen Z, the first generation to grow up with the internet, and also the first generation to question the old mantra of staying loyal to a company. In an age where a corporate company will let you go faster than they hire you, and the rise of social media and the internet giving us more options than ever to make money, we're the first generation to realize that there's no need to settle for a company that's not going to treat us how we're worth. Whether you like it or not, the new standard of work for this generation is work for a purpose and don't settle for less. Gen Z is not lazy. We have more options and the standard for work has changed. Regarding the first claim, is Gen Z lazier than other generations? Slander. Conclusion, keeping historical and societal context in mind, Gen Z is no more lazy than any other generation given the circumstances. On to number 2.
No, I feel like, okay, here's the thing. I feel like if any other generation had like the technology Gen Z has, bro, they would be, they would have like been the same way. You know what I mean? They would have been the same way. Like there is hella niggas that are lazy, right? We can't deny that, but there's a lot of people that work hard. But 100%, they would have been sitting, bro. If the boomers had tablets, they would have been sitting, bro. They would have been, iPackers would have started with them. It would have started with them. Because like it's just the way technology advances. This is the way technology advances. It's like nothing you could really do, bro. It's not like Gen Z was born and was like, okay, you know, make all this technology for us to make shit easier. Like, bro, it was just here. What was he supposed to do?
Generation Snowflake.
This is the snowflake generation.
Is Gen Z soft?
Come to call Generation Z.
Okay, this is 100%. I'm fully into Gen Z is soft, like way too soft, bro. It's actually absurd. This is 100%. Yo, the older generations are right on this. The older generations are actually right on this, cause bro, even almost all of us realize like Gen Z is soft. Almost all of us do. And it's mainly Twitter's fault. We could definitely blame Twitter. It's fully Twitter. I feel like if Twitter didn't exist, it would be a completely different climate of how Gen Z looked at shit and whatnot. But it's bad. It's bad. I mean, are there people that definitely push it too far? For sure. There's people who push it too far, but for the majority.
We're referred to as the snowflake.
We have a group of people entering the labor market that are snowflakes. They believe that when they speak, the words from God are coming out of their mouth.
Objection. The belief that Gen Z is softer and weaker than previous generations is another case of generational stereotyping. For anyone who unironically believes that Gen Z is a soft generation, where are you basing this belief off of? And I'm not talking about physical weakness. We all know about the obesity crisis and that one picture that compares high school boys from 50 years ago to now. Usually when people talk about Gen Z being soft, they're referring to sensitivity, as in, this generation is too sensitive. This generation gets offended too easily. All they care about is their mental health. And the term...
Okay, that last one is crazy, because like, you're not supposed to care about your mental health? I don't know. I need to see what he says, but like, bro, that last one is f***ing crazy if they actually say that. Last one is crazy.
Snowflake gets tossed around so much that it just became another buzzword. We already talked about the kids these days effect earlier. Do I really need to bring up the fact that this rhetoric isn't new either?
Precious snowflakes.
The snowflake.
The snowflakes. Snowflake. The snowflake. The snowflake. Millennial.
But people started saying it with millennials though. Like they started saying like, oh, why are they like getting so mad at this and that and whatnot? So it started with them.
Self-absorbed.
They say it like for boomers.
Entitled. Lazy, entitled, millennials, entitled.
Almost every complaint people have about Gen Z today, they've already said word for word about millennials a few years ago. Does this hold any merit? Are kids today really that sensitive? Or is this another case of old people complaining about young people? Obviously, this is another case of generational stereotyping, and this belief usually stems from a lack of context and nuance. But I can't lie, there is some merit behind this. To gain a broader perspective, I've asked a young person, another Gen Z, to gain a different opinion on the topic.
Let's start off with the positives. I like that we will stand up to authority. Like for instance, with our jobs, we won't take anything from our bosses. These are my boundaries as an employee. I demand to be paid.
Back in the day, they were sensitive about GTA. The thing is, bro, about the older generations is, they definitely push it saying we're too, like shit like, bro, they would say, like when a game like GTA came out, they were like, oh my god, how many we're gonna have way more school shooters because of this game. Like Call of Duty, oh my god, bro, all these kids are gonna end up, there's gonna be shooting like 5 shootings a day or something like that. And it's like, no, that's pushing it. That's a perfect example of them like overdoing it, right? But I still fully believe, we're soft as I fully believe that.
Need a respectable living wage, else I'm gonna leave and get a new job. Compared to like previous generations that just stick it out in a bad situation. But then the thing that I don't like about this generation is, our outlook on life. I would say we're very depressed. It's good that we're more aware of mental health and that we do recognize that there are pressures in life that maybe...
No, that's facts, bro. I knew shit was getting bad when people were making depression an aesthetic. That's when I knew shit was getting really stupid. I was like, what? What do you mean you're getting depressed because you think it looks cool? You feel like sad because that was the most... I remember when the Bart Simpson shit started happening. When the Bart Simpson edits started happening, that's when I started seeing it, right? I was like, what the hell is this? Like, what is this? And the crazy thing is, I never even fell for it. That's the thing. Like, I was into X, bro. I was into goddamn... in whatever and whatnot, but I never thought, oh my god, I'm so sad, I listened to a sad X song, let me go ahead and make it a profile picture, sit in my room all day dark and do... No, what? Why would I ever do that?
Too hard to suck it up, but I feel like we need more stoicism in the sense of this generation, just a mentality that life is tough, but I'm gonna get through it, and I'm going to progress.
And he's absolutely correct.
100%.
There is an uptick in the mental health crisis in the younger generation, due in part to the emergence of social media, while simultaneously being hyper conscious of social issues in the world. And thanks to this hyper awareness of mental health and social issues, Gen Z on average are more sensitive to topics that in their eyes seem less tolerable. So if you think Gen Z is soft because of their perceived lack of resilience and their sensitivity to social issues, I guess you're correct. But the magic word needed here is nuance, because I doubt Margaret is keeping the current mental health crisis in mind when bashing Gen Z on Reddit. Real quick, for everyone who says that, I have a quick question. Come a little bit closer.
Not being oppressed is apparently frowned upon online.
Have you spent any considerable time with Gen Z?
I have very little interaction with the younger generation. I don't have children. I don't have grandchildren.
Nah, that's crazy. I'm not gonna lie. She's cool though.
Okay.
So I basically have nothing to do with the younger generation. So it's you. You're it.
Do you feel there's a pattern of the older generation hating or disliking the younger generation?
Say only if they're not in touch. But if the older generation has grandchildren that they are in touch with, that would be a different answer.
This is important for many reasons, because perception is everything.
But I feel like a lot of like grandparents when they have their kids are like, oh, but not my kid though. All the other kids are terrible and bad. Like, oh my god, they're so lazy, right? But not my grandchild though. Not my little Timmy. Not my little Timmy. My little Timmy works hard in school. He's a scholar. He has a D1 scholarship.
Typically, our view on a particular group of people is based upon the amount and what type of exposure we personally have with said group. Let's say you have very little interaction with a certain group of people, as in you never or rarely hold conversations with them and you don't have any of them as friends. But the only times you are exposed to a person of that group, you see them being loud and obnoxious. And you look online and see 1 or 2 videos of people of that group also being loud and obnoxious. Based on that limited exposure, it's likely you'll assume all people of that group are loud and obnoxious, while ignoring the possibility that maybe only a small percentage of people within that group actually behave that way. But if your only exposure is that small percent, you'll think everyone acts this way. And the same works on the opposite.
That is true.
If you are a part of a particular group of people, it's common to think, why are people of my blank so loud and obnoxious, when in reality your only perception of your demographic outside of yourself is basically
I know that for sure. I know that for sure at this point. 100%. Like all the whatever all the kids that chase cloud or super annoying the neons and all that, it's like a small amount of people. It's not like everybody's doing that shit, right? But still, whenever you see it, it's like, damn, bro, you gotta say something about it. You gotta say something about it. Because it's rough. Because if you're not speaking up, if the generation is not speaking up, then like the older generations are gonna keep saying the same shit and nothing's gonna change. Like, it's better for us to like make fun of the neons or bully the neons out of here to make the generation look better. Because we gotta show like we don't accept that person
upon your personal circle and a few other people you see online. My theory is that there is a bunch of people who have very little or virtually no interaction with Gen Z. They see a couple videos on TikTok of a person who happens to be Gen Z crying or complaining, and they assume that's how the entire generation must behave. Calling Gen Z soft because you see a couple people making a fool of themselves on social media is just like saying all baby boomers were hippies because you saw a couple of them on TV. Social media wasn't around back then, but I'm sure the silent generation said the same about the baby boomers when they rebelled in the late 60s. So what does this all mean? Does this mean to avoid stereotyping we should befriend every Gen Z on the planet? Nah, just means that be aware whatever overgeneralization of a generation you have is usually not correct and usually stems from a loud minority of people. That's it. So back to claim 2. Is Gen Z soft? Plausible. Conclusion: Gen Z has a unique hyper-awareness of mental health issues, and their tendency to question authority and traditional societal norms created a sensitivity to social issues. However, keeping nuance in mind is to understand that our stereotype of Gen Z being soft may be from our limited exposure with the generation. So where do we go from here? To be clear, the point of me making this video wasn't to bash older generations, and not even really to defend Gen Z. With the amount of noise there is on the news about how
well, honestly though, I rock the answers yes there, so I rock that we're more in touch with our emotions. Like, out of every generation, I feel like Gen Z is more in touch. Like, even saying mental health, like if you're with your friends, like before, bro, if you said like, oh, I gotta worry about my mental health, they were like, nigga, what the bro, ain't nobody care about that shit. Just like hurry up, bro, and just work. Like, god damn, bro, ain't nobody care. Nowadays though, if you say with your friends or whatever, if you got good friends, I don't know, They're like, oh, I understand whatever you're going through, this and that. At least they're understanding. The older generations, it's literally like a complete opposite though. They're like complete opposite ends, but because before it wasn't really accepted.
Quote unquote
What's
terrible
mental
Gen
health,
Z
bro?
is. I was curious to see if the older generations actually felt that way. And to my surprise, every person of the older
Tommy got Drake Ave friends. Fellas, is it gay to talk about your emotions?
generation who agreed to sit down for an interview only had positive things to say about the youth. So it's only right that I end this video off with a few of my favorite moments I had speaking with them and asking how confident they are in the younger generation's ability to lead in the future,
Suck it
with the
up.
hopes of adding to the conversation to say that if we aren't in touch with the other generations, our perception of them likely isn't true.
Yeah, very much so.
You're very much confident.
Yes, yes.
Awesome.
Yes, I can't wait.
Yeah, really.
There'll be so much.
Wait, are you confident in Gen Z's ability to lead this world? She better than me, because currently I'm not.
Better than what we have now.
You know what they say in Africa? They say the children are the wealth of the nation. Children are the future. It's about you.
I depend on them. I need them more than they need me.
Believe in the rights that you have in this country and stand up for them.
Who's going to lead the world? I mean, that's why when I see a kid that's doing what you're doing, I'm proud, I'm happy.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying? It means a lot.
And in the words of the great Joseph,
Ciao.
I'll turn off the camera.
This is a good word to learn in Italian. Ciao.
Ciao.
Means
Ciao.
goodbye.
That's good. Yeah. Oh yeah. Italian.
God damn, man. Well, hey, bro. I still believe in the point where, like, that last point I disagree with. Gen Z is soft. But, you know what I'm saying? This is a good video. What's this dude's name? Tyreek Simmons. Hey, shout out to him, bro. Y'all go check out this channel, man. That was a very informational video. I like that overall. This felt like a therapy, bro. I was getting therapy with chat. We're getting therapy about the generation, all right? We're getting therapy about Gen Z. But, yeah, anyways, if you're watching on the tube, join the Discord.